So the other day, me and my girlfriend were looking at some music videos we made together, and there was one that we'd kind of forgotten because we made it years ago and just hadn't really seen it in a long time. And we were both quite taken aback by how good it was, the visuals and the lyrics and everything. And I found myself personally quite sort of moved by it, and I felt a bit emotional watching it. And perhaps that's also because I made it and I was kind of remembering it, and, you know, it has more impact on me for that reason. I don't know, but I really liked it and I thought it was really cool. And as I said, it made me feel kind of emotional seeing it. And then we were flicking through and we looked at a more recent one that we filmed together, and still good. It wasn't as impactful or good, but it was still good. And part of the way through the video, there's a moment in it where I had my dog there and I went to pet her, and as I did so, and I went down and I put my face near hers, she came up and started licking me. And immediately we both felt extremely emotional watching this. We both started to cry because our dog is not here anymore. And she was the best friend we've ever had, and she was the best thing we've ever had, and she was just the best thing that ever happened to either of us in our lives. And I feel like we were the same to her, and we were, you know, like incredibly close, the three of us. And you know, she was there were clips of her throughout the video and everything, but it was something about this moment. It was like so vivid, and it brought back such a vivid memory for both of us of what it felt like when she did that, and like how much love you could see in her eyes, and just how like warm and kind she was. And we watched this bit like probably 15 or 20 times, you know, as though it was going to like bring her back somehow, and as though by watching it we could relive that, and you know, we could for a moment. You know, for a moment you feel that, you feel like you're kind of back there, and that's what's so emotional about it, is it brings you there, and then you come back to kind of reality where, you know, she's not here physically. And yeah, we were both extremely emotional. And then afterwards I was thinking about it, and I was thinking like, yeah, like, you know, the first video we looked at, I did feel emotional watching it, and that's really good. You know, I feel really proud of what I did on that first video, and I feel proud of a lot of my music, and I feel really proud of stuff that has an emotional impact. And when other people say it has an emotional impact on them, I feel really proud of that. But watching that other clip afterwards, it was nothing to do with the editing or the art or anything. It was just her being her. Seeing how much more of an impact that had on both of us, it told me something that I've been learning anyway for the last 10 years or so, and kind of wish I'd known sooner, is that real life and real love are so much more powerful than depictions of it. And this isn't to at all diminish the importance of art. It's one of the many things that makes life worth living. It's such an amazing thing that we can do, and to communicate these feelings with each other, and to make them more universal, or to make them more relatable, or to share them with each other. That's amazing. I'm not downplaying or diminishing that at all. But I realized when we adopted her, like, there were things I could get from the experience of being with her that nothing else could really give me, and that for all of my years of doing this stuff that was so important to me, and working on art and music was so important to me throughout my whole kind of young adult life. Like, it was the most important thing. I was obsessed. When we adopted our dog, Luna, I had no plans of adopting a dog, and me and my girlfriend were broken up at the time. But before this, when we'd been together, my girlfriend had always said, you know, like, we should get a dog. And one of the main reasons I didn't want to was because I was like, I have too much stuff that's important in my life, and too many projects to work on, and too much stuff I want to do, and too many ambitions. And sometimes those were kind of artistic ambitions for the sake of artistic ambitions. I think a lot of the time I lost sight of why I was doing it and what the greater purpose of it was. But that was one of the main reasons. Not just that, our life was very chaotic, and there was a lot of drugs and stuff and bad stuff going on. But also that, you know, I thought, no, I'm like this musician guy. I have to do this. I have to follow this. I can't, you know, take anything else. My life is already too full, and I already can't handle what's going on. And then just by chance, really, ended up meeting this dog and adopting her, and it was the most amazing experience ever. And I just realized how wrong I was, basically, and I realized very quickly there's just something about this that you know, this is what I was trying to capture. This is what I was trying to convey. This is what I was trying to express in my art. Maybe not exactly this, but the essence of this that underlies this experience of being with this dog and experiencing this love and being alive and being a conscious being or whatever. That is it, essentially. That's the point of what people are most of the time trying to convey in their art. And on some level, it was more important than anything else I'd ever done. And I understand, like, in the future when we have kids and stuff like that, it will probably even be in so many ways more profound of an experience than that. But regardless, it was extremely eye-opening for me. And the dog, really taught me to actually live life, and to see how amazing life can be, and to be open to experiences, because I had become so obsessed with depicting them or funneling them through these creative projects I was working on, and with that being the most important thing in the world. And you can't feel that way when you're around a dog. You can't actually feel like that, because they don't think like that at all, and their presence naturally inspires you to just, like, you know, you take them to the park and you take their lead off, and they look at you, they're smiling, they're running around, they're happy, they think today is the best day that there's ever been, and there'll never be another day as good as this, and everything is just like in the moment, and to experience and to live life. And they do that in some ways so much better than us. And I know there are many ways in which we understand things better than they do. I mean, you know, in most ways. But there is a certain aspect of living that we've kind of like, maybe we've sort of like intellectualized ourselves out of, and they just do it. Like, they just express who they are, how they feel, and what's going on instantaneously. And so that was really powerful to be around, and really cool, and changed how I look at everything and how I feel and how I think. And it was the only thing in our lives that we actually did appreciate, because, you know, everything, I feel most people probably relate to this now in particular in the modern world, everything kind of just passes by. Things just happen, and you don't really take them in, and you don't really experience them, and you don't really feel them. And that is, by the way, one of the really good things about art, is it can interrupt that kind of malaise, or that repetitiveness, or that kind of, you know, living and feeling almost like a kind of machine, or everything's numb. It can interrupt that, and it can add colour and everything, and that's really cool. But what I'm trying to say is that colour that it was adding is already there. It's depicting something that is already there. It's depicting something that's present in life, and it's good that it's depicting it. But remember that, you know, it is depicting real life most of the time. I know there's obviously lots of different approaches to art, and some of it is very abstract and surreal and absurd, and is sometimes trying to depict something bigger than life itself. Fine, I'm speaking more generally here. I'm saying most of the stuff we love and that we listen to and look at and enjoy, when it makes us feel something, usually it's because it makes us feel something that on some level we've already felt before, and maybe it's easier to feel it through the medium of art or something else. So a lot of what we're looking for in art, and a lot of what art gives us, we do already have. And often it's much more meaningful to experience those feelings or those things in reality. And as I said, like, I can look at the most amazing works of art or movies or TV shows or songs or whatever, and there is nothing I've ever looked at or made or worked on or anything that was more meaningful than just looking at her, you know, like the two of us just looking at each other, or the experiences I had with her where we just really felt like we were connected. Or just the joy of like seeing her happy, like she had an injury and it was really difficult and she was paralyzed and she recovered from it, and seeing her happy after that and seeing her playing and stuff, like nothing I could look at or listen to or read or anything could ever be as meaningful as that. It's just impossible. It doesn't mean that there's not room for both. It doesn't mean they're not both completely essential and important. I'm just saying that I think sometimes, I think this is important for both artists and people who are not artists, and I don't really think there needs to be like a very clear distinction, because I think like there's quite a thin line between something that's art and something that's not art, you know, and like expressing yourself in certain ways can be like a form of art, and some people sometimes do stuff and sometimes draw things or make things, or some people do it all the time, and some people feel like they never do it, but maybe they do in one way or another anyway, express themselves in a way that is creative or artistic. So there isn't really a real dividing line necessarily, a clear one between artists and non-artists. But regardless, if you're someone who perceives yourself as an artist and that's something that you're trying to do with your life and that you're dedicating a lot of your time to, I think this is useful to remember in the sense that sometimes if you're like me, you might put your life on hold and forget why you began doing this in the first place. You might start making stuff kind of for the sake of making stuff, and making stuff that's almost about itself, making stuff for the sake of making stuff about making stuff. It becomes like this kind of very circular thing where you sort of forget, like, I was trying to take something from here and reflect it through this, or show people it through this, or honor this experience through this, but instead I'm just kind of wanking myself off, like, in this experience. I'm just kind of doing this. I'm just making art. There isn't really like a purpose to it. There isn't really something that I'm trying to pay homage to or show a kind of appreciation or respect for in any way. I'm just like kind of making stuff. And I think we see that in a lot of art now, like in a lot of famous artists. It becomes very much about them, and that's fine, but it becomes about them kind of as an artist, or their supremacy as an artist, or how they are perceived as an artist. And I understand it's cool when people's work is personal, but when it's just personal about them, the concept, the artist, the idea of them, and it becomes like a kind of hero worship of their talent, or a kind of, like a kind of a spectacle of them as an artist, and it sort of slowly ceases to be what it was originally. And I think that's a big problem. And also, I mean, again, because you end up missing out on a lot of life experiences. You end up just like I kind of put everything on hold, like, throughout most of my 20s, and it's not because I was working all the time. I wasn't like hugely hardworking as an artist compared to a lot. I just kind of felt like nothing was as important as this, and that doing all this stuff, this was like so meaningful, and that nothing could ever be as meaningful as it. And I think one of the reasons for that is that it's hard to actually feel what's going on in real life sometimes. As I said, when we adopted our dog, we were very present with her, because she was quite old when we adopted her, so we knew it wasn't going to last, and we knew probably it would be a few years. And so every day, we really, like, pretty much every day, there were a couple of days where we were, fed up of dealing with her and fed up of having to do this or that, and, a lot of stuff was quite difficult, but pretty much every day we were grateful to be with her. And I would very regularly take a moment to myself to just look at her and say, wow, enjoy this, man, like, because she's going to be gone soon, and just enjoy it, and like take in the experience of being with her and appreciate it. And when she died, I was so glad that I did that. I was so glad that I had the foresight to do that, and that, yeah, could have done this differently, or could have done that differently, or certain little things could have been different, but overall, like, I think we all really made the most of our time together. But we don't do that, me and my girlfriend, we know that. We try really hard, but it's so hard with other humans, and it's so hard when you're kind of, I don't know, like, there's like work, and there's like ego, and there's like, like all of your own problems and all of their problems and all the stuff that makes it hard to be yourself on a day-to-day basis, or hard to be in the moment, or hard to feel open to experiences, or all the things that build up, the things that annoy you about each other, or whether it's with a relationship or with family or with friends or whatever. There's all this stuff that like gets in the way. And there's also the fact that humans live for a long time usually, so you don't have that same feeling, and it's weird. I'm getting distracted because someone has a sheet hung up on in the apartment across the building opposite, and it's really weird because it's hanging from two bits like this, and it's like the same color as her, and it really looks like she's peering at me from over their balcony. It's bizarre. The dog, I mean, not my girlfriend. Yeah, that would be a little bit more unsettling, I think, especially as she is currently in the other room. Yeah, not that it wouldn't be unsettling if it were actually my dog who passed away 3 months ago over there, but yeah, no, it's really bizarre. I can't stop looking at it. I need to stop looking at it. It's distracting me from making this video. But yeah, anyway, it's harder with humans, and sometimes I think you experience these things through art. And again, that's really good. I'm not in any way trying to downplay that, or downplay the importance of art. I think it's so important. I think it's such a brilliant thing. So yeah, with humans, it's a lot harder. And we used to do a lot of drugs and stuff, and that was a way of kind of accessing that stuff. And that was another thing that I considered to be very meaningful and very a way of feeling things and experiencing things, which in reality were there anyway. It was a way of channeling, maybe in concentrated doses, like emotions that were already present, ideas and feelings that were already present. And it can just be hard to feel them on a day-to-day basis for so many different reasons. I think now the internet is a big factor. Like, we're all on our phones all the time and stuff, and the world is in a pretty strange place at the moment, and it's hard a lot of the time to feel stuff and to be yourself sometimes as well, and to like express yourself. And when I say express yourself, I don't necessarily even mean just by what you say. I mean like how you think and feel. It can be quite hard to express yourself in that way. It can be quite hard to just like to be who you are, And so yeah, some of these things we look at and watch, like I really like the show Severance, and some of you a lot of you have probably seen it. It's a really good show. I'm a bit annoyed that they make us wait like 10 years between every season. I'm sort of beginning to lose interest a bit because they haven't even begun filming the next season yet, which is kind of ridiculous to me. But the first 2 seasons of it anyway, I think are just like so incredible, like absolutely incredible. And, the characters in it are going through very strange, crazy things that, the reality of that none of us are experiencing, right? Having the chips in their brains and all the weird memory stuff, and having 2 brains and everything. But really, the part that's really good is, even through this weird sci-fi plot and all this crazy shit is happening to them, they're showing us a lot of stuff that we experience. Like, he loves this person, but there's all this stuff getting in the way, and there's different parts of him, and there's different parts of her, and there's ideologies or organizations or things that are much bigger than them and make them feel tiny. And even though like their love for each other is really powerful and huge, they as individuals can feel so diminished by like these bigger things that are going on around them, or there's people who maybe once had good intentions who now are doing bad things, or there's maybe people who just have bad intentions, and there's like scary stuff lurking beneath the surface in life, and there's things that seem okay and that aren't okay, or there's times when maybe you don't know something but on some level you kind of do, like your body knows something that you don't know, you know, because you get the feeling some of these characters, when they're trapped in these different kind of realms of perception, there's a part of them that knows it's wrong, there's a part of them that understands, but they can't really access that part of them. It's like in their body, and even just life itself feels that way a lot of the time. I think a lot of humans feel there's just something, there's stuff we know but we don't know, you know, there's stuff we can feel but we can't really describe it, we can't really point it out, we can't really even access the feeling. But there are things about life that are just really strange and hard to describe and hard to grapple with and engage. So shows like that, I think, can put them in this like very kind of create these very intense stories and images and feelings that make you feel so much, and you can feel so emotional looking at these things. And then you go, well, why do I feel emotional? And I feel so drawn to these depictions of like these two people that love each other and they have all these problems and these things that are getting in the way and all of this. I feel drawn to that because I know what that means and I know that experience. And yet there's something in some ways like that can be so much more appealing about just watching it in a TV show and having it presented in this cool way, this very like creative way. And you can miss out what's happening in your own life. You can miss out on reality. And even people who are not artists or don't see themselves as such and don't make things, you know, the stuff that these artists are depicting, you are living. So they're not depicting things that you are incapable of experiencing or feeling. They're, most of the time anyway, they are depicting quite universal human experiences. And whether that is through that perspective, just thinking about humans and their experiences and their relationships, or maybe it's like in reverence of like life or God or the universe or whatever it is, you're capable of all of that. And that what they're making is just an approximation really of what you are anyway as a conscious being. So like sometimes we kind of put them on a pedestal. We put artists on a pedestal. And like most artists, most people want to be put on a pedestal. You know, if you give someone the option, you know, like people like special praise and attention and all of that. But like, it's not really them that's special, you know, someone who makes these amazing things. It's special because of what it's doing. It's special because of the role it's performing and what it's allowing us to feel and what it's allowing them to express. And you know, it's like that is supposed to connect us. It's not supposed to make us feel like they are special and we are not. And again, look, I know I can't be too definitive about this because there's different other people might say, no, that is what I like about it, that is what's cool, that is what's great. Fine, I'm speaking generally. Like, you know, there might be some people who look at art in that way and think that there's a specific philosophy, a specific approach to looking at it where that is the whole point of it and that's good and that has value to them. Cool. I'm speaking more generally, like, you know, when someone paints an amazing picture, like I was talking in a previous video about Van Gogh, you know, when he paints these self-portraits and you see all this emotion in his face and you see all this stuff, like you have all of that in you. He's depicting a thing that you have in you. So if that thing is beautiful when he expresses it, it's also beautiful for you to experience it. And you're not, you know, you feel something when you look at that, and there's a reason you feel something. You relate to it, you understand it because you're a human being and you're a conscious being as well. So this isn't like something that is so far removed from you. And I think even just being, in a way, just being yourself, trying to be a fully realized version of yourself is a form of art. Like living can be your form of art. Just being authentically yourself and being open and being real and being an active participant in the very strange, obviously sometimes horrible, but also quite miraculous nature of existence itself, and also your own existence specifically. That in itself can be a hugely creative pursuit and a very like beautiful, meaningful thing. And people, just by existing, can have, without realizing it, such a profound effect on everything, on eternity, on existence, on the universe, on the infinite. Like, people can, without even knowing like how important they can be or how important their choices might be, when they just decide to do a certain thing or say a certain thing or be a certain way around someone, it can have so much more impact than we realize, because we're incapable of comprehending everything that goes on around us and understanding the ripple effect that every event has. So like, just because something is in a museum and has been seen by millions of people, or like a movie is, you know, grosses like half $500 million or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean it's more important or a more accurate depiction or expression of life itself, whether it's like the majesty of it or the difficult parts or just how it is, just the reality of it. That doesn't necessarily mean that thing is more important than just a person's existence who might not even realize it. But either way, even just trying to be in tune with yourself in that way is, in and of itself, in the same way that when you look at these works of art and you go, wow, like, that goes beyond words. I can't describe why that's so good and why that's so important. It just goes beyond words. I don't know. I just know that this is the truth. And when, in the exact same way, when I would look at my dog, we would look at each other's faces, you know, I would see her like kind of smiling at me with her whole face. That was just the truth. There was just something, it was like nothing, there's nothing you could tell me, there's nothing you could say, there's nothing, like, nothing could kind of interrupt that or disprove it or anything. It was just the truth. It was just, that was just so incredibly pure. And you can access that in so many ways. You can access it by yourself. You can access it through your relationships with other people. And I'm not saying I'm a master of this, because I'm not at all. Like, you know, me and my girlfriend, we were lucky enough to go to Paris recently, and we argued basically the whole time. Like, we're in this like incredible place. It's really incredible there. Like, as only the second time we've ever been away, partially because we had the dog before, but like, it's an incredible place. It's honestly incredible. I couldn't believe how beautiful it is. But we argued for probably half the trip. We argued a lot. And when we weren't arguing, we were stressed from the fact that we'd been arguing, you know? And that's really stupid. But, you know, if someone were to depict that in a great work of art, in a great TV show, I might go, oh, I feel this, you know? I really feel this. Like, he's showing how they're arguing and they're not experiencing what's going on around them, and I'd go, oh, that's so good, I feel this. That's my life. Like, it's not my life. I mean, it happened to us on this trip. It's not our whole fucking life. We have a great time a lot of the time. But point I'm making is, that is my experience. I've had that experience. So to put so much value on seeing it depicted, and probably sometimes to not put enough value on it just happening and it being real, seems like a mistake. And another reason I made this video was because someone commented something on one of the videos I made the other day, and it sounded kind of vaguely suicidal, and it was about, you know, someone who's an artist, and it's like not not going well or something. And like, I'm not a counselor, you know, and I'm not this person's friend or family. So I can't really, there's a limit to what I can, you know what I mean? It's sort of out a bit out of my jurisdiction. But I think, like, if you are an artist, or even, I guess this probably applies if there's just something else you've just poured yourself into in your life, what were you trying to show? What were you trying to pay homage to? What were you trying to immortalize, or to depict, or honor in your work? What was it? And if you don't know, well, what about before, when you first started? What was it you were trying to show? What were the experiences you were trying to capture? And way before that, like, what was it that first made you feel inspired? Because I think really the first thing that ever inspired any of us was ourselves, was our consciousness. Like, when you're really, really young and you barely have a clue what's going on, just awareness, just being aware, just being a participant in life, and having the lights kind of turned on at a certain point, you know, when you start to become sentient, I think that really inspires all of us. I think it's like a really intense experience that to some degree we never really get over. And I don't mean that in a bad way, that we never get over it, but it's like, it's extremely strange. But then even before then, you know, or after then, the things that, the first things you hear or see, or the experiences you have that speak to you and resonate with you, and some of them might be negative and some are positive. What were they? What are they? What are the things that the core elements of things that inspired you or made you feel something or made you think a certain way? It's useful to try and think about those and remember them, because that's probably what made you want to make art in the first place. And if it's something that was powerful enough to inspire you to do it in the first place, then maybe just like go back to that sometimes. Like, just like seek out those experiences. We don't have to like draw it or write it down or paint it all the time, or do it. Just like have those experiences. You know, if you love like painting nature, for example, and it isn't working out for you as a career or as a pursuit, well, why did you love painting nature? Because you love nature, presumably. Maybe you just love painting it, but most likely you love nature. Something about nature is inspiring or beautiful to you. So maybe try to engage with that experience. You know, like, it doesn't always have to be depicted or recreated. And I thought, like, all that mattered was I just did this stuff, and that if it didn't work out, everything was wrong, or everything was broken, or everything was. And in the meantime, there were so many experiences that I was having that I wasn't fully present for, that I wasn't taking in. I wasn't understanding how amazing they were, or how lucky I was. And I'm still doing that now every day. I'm, again, not trying to say I've mastered this. Every day I'm doing this. Every day I'm missing out on life. I'm missing out on stuff I could be taking in more. I could be experiencing more fully. But all of this stuff, which was the exact kind of stuff that made me want to write songs and made me like hearing like emotive music and stuff in the first place, was because I had these experiences and I connected to the music through them. So why am I like numbing myself to them and missing out on them, and the whole time going, oh, this music stuff isn't working out, this song didn't do well, this didn't happen. Like, okay, that's part of this, you know. That's like the way of kind of, it's almost like sort of, I don't know, like you're sort of obsessed with cooking to the point you forget, like, you know, you need like ingredients and you need a kitchen, and that they matter too, and that food is, you know, you need to eat and stuff. It's like, you can't just cook. It's not just cooking. Like, cooking doesn't exist in a vacuum, and neither does art. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say on that. If you like Severance, by the way, guys, I read a book recently, because I'm writing a book myself at the moment, and I'm not experienced with writing novels, but I had this idea. It came to me one day, and I was just like, I just have to do. It's the most I've probably the most I've ever been invested in a project, in a way, because I feel it's the one idea I've had that I think will just, so many people will connect to if I do it right. But it's hard because I don't have experience writing novels, and to be honest, I'm not a big reader. Like, I don't read as much as a lot of people, you know. But I just knew I have to put this idea down. And so I was trying to look at other novels to find kind of inspiration. And I will post about it when mine is done. I don't know when it will be. But I read this one called Recursion by Blake Crouch, and it's fucking amazing, man. Because I looked up books that are similar to Severance. Like I really like that kind of stuff, like sci-fi, kind of a psychedelic sci-fi stuff where there's like real life mixed in, you know, like kind of that it's very relatable. It has a lot of human experiences, but mixed in with like crazy shit going on. And I just love that kind of stuff. And yeah, this book, Recursion, man, like, I think it's better actually. I don't know. It's whatever the case, it's very much worth a read if you like that kind of thing. And it's a perfect depiction of what I'm trying to talk about, I guess, because there's things that happen in it and take place that obviously, thankfully, are not real because they're so terrifying. But the feelings that other people have that get churned up through all of these crazy events, there's so much in there that you can connect to as just a normal person living a normal life, that it makes it so much more kind of potent, you know, to read. So if you do like Severance, I highly recommend checking out that book. All right, guys. Anyway, that's all. Yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. And remember, if you're working on your stuff, if you are an artist or a creator and you feel like shit, just fucking go and do something else. Like go to a dog shelter and see if you can help out, or like try to just do something else. Like try to go somewhere if you can. I know it's not easy, obviously. Sometimes life is just horrible and there's nothing you do about it, but try to just get out of that and just remember, like there is a lot more than just that, and it's easy to get locked in because it is so important and it is so great and it is so cool to be able to make these things. You can forget, you know, like why you're doing it. So try to just forget about it, like, and come back to it, you know, do something else, think about something else, exist in a different way for a while. It's definitely worth it, I promise.
I am here. Panic. I am here. I am here. I stepped outside. I am here. Covered in formaldehyde. Big boy, old man. Big boy, indoors and outdoors. Big boy, back now. I fucking know that, old man. Write that down. In-laws without cause. Flying kites high and mighty. I might drive by. Indoors and outside. Indoors and outside. Flying kites high and mighty. I might drive hours, days, weeks. I might fly by. Been walking round for now, sitting down more, trying to get peace of mind. Sick of being lied to. Peace of mind. Don't wanna fight you. Sick of being lied to. I know you might lie to. Couldn't speak, I tried. I know I lie to. Most of us do. There's sadness in my chest, like I'm at peace with the world. I know I lie to. I'm at peace with the world. Reflections, scattered sadness in my chest. Like pain in the brain doesn't matter. Peace with the world. Sadness in my chest. If I had wings, I wouldn't take off. Went back inside. I stepped outside of that. I went back inside this. Back inside of me. Back inside of me. Back inside of me. Finding myself again. Finding myself. No more America see out. Know that I'm alive. I know that I am here. I know that I'm alive and I'm loose for a while. Like it out. Goodness in my chest when I'm at peace outside. When I see the world. Thanks, can only see it when I step outside. Since got my feelings, only see it. I stepped outside. Got my feelings back. I stepped outside. I sit around outside. Couldn't see the forest through the trees. Could only sit around like the pain hill. I stepped outside. I stepped outside. Take off. If I had wings, I wouldn't take off. I stepped outside. I stepped outside and see it for what it is inside my body and brain. Not fight it back inside of me. What it meant to me. Not what I needed to be. Not what I was trying to do. Covered in formaldehyde, I'll stay here. Went back inside my room. Not because I'm covered in see the forest through the trees. I sit around it for what it is. I can see out of this. I stepped outside of the mass. I went back inside my room. Back inside my womb. Back inside my tomb. Back inside my room. I stepped outside. Back inside my room. I stepped outside. Flying kites. I might drive by. Couldn't see the forest through the trees. I see the forest through me. Couldn't see the forest through the trees. Alright, now I see the forest through me. Anything. I don't know anything. That's where it's meant to be. Couldn't see the forest through the trees. Now I see the forest through me. What's it called? Where it's meant to be. Couldn't see the forest through the trees. Now I see the forest through me.